Grant Dania now.
It's Grant Dania.
The gold logie this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Dania.
And our mum, Chezzi Dania. She's really crazy. And
George,
affectionately known
as Large Sarge.
It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Dania.
and
George.
I clipped the intro. Oh my God. Grant, you pest. Grant is such a pest. I said to him, please, before you go to Melbourne to film, can you please have everything set up ready for the podcast?
Yeah.
And I get in here and things aren't charged and anyway.
Yeah. We've basically been setting up this podcast studio for about 50 minutes, and now we've decided, you know what, we're going to record the episode. And nice little mention there, GD is he's left us, he's off and filming, I'm assuming, Deal or No Deal.
He is. Yep. Today's the first day. He's having a great time too. He said it's really fun.
Yeah, okay, cool. No, he'd be absolutely in his element. Back, I saw that people can audition to be on the show.
Yeah. Are you going to audition?
Yeah, well, I mean, do I have to? Do I have like a free pass or?
Well, I don't know why do you have to audition? I guess so you don't turn up and not speak.
I mean, it sounds pretty easy. Like you're just standing there, I think, holding a case. Is that right? Like I can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they want people who can hold the case steady, you know, no wobbly cases.
It's quite funny. I guess
They
you
might
also
ask your coffee intake and make sure you're not a shaky kind of individual.
Well, I wouldn't be able to hold it because I've had 3 coffees today, very large coffees.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
We're 7 coffees deep. It's going to be a crazy. We're going to start buzzed this episode, and then by the end we're going to crash.
Yeah, I'll be asleep on the floor. Do you drink coffee, George?
Oh, I am an absolute fiend for coffee. I love it. It is so good. We are recording this episode a bit after midday in our part of the world, and I have had about 4.5 coffees today, which is not usually my... Like, I'd usually have a few more than that, but that's sort of my minimum today.
Why are you so tired?
I don't know. So I've been speaking to my psychologist about this. We speak about the intake of coffee, how, on days where I have heaps of it, let's just say 7 cups, very unhealthy.
7 cups?
You get very anxious. Yeah. 7 cups of coffee.
What? Well, no wonder you're getting anxious. 7 cups, that's a lot of caffeine.
It's heaps. And we both came to the acknowledgement that is a core reason as to why people get anxious. But as soon as I finished, I fall asleep. And she's like, okay, well, that's not normal. You should probably still be buzzing. Yes. So I don't know what's going on with me, Shez. It's weird. It's odd.
I remember working overnights at Channel 7 when I used to be on the chief of staff desk. And at one point, I remember really burning the candle at both ends to talk like my mum used to say. And I would have about 6 or 7 coffees a day and same thing, get home and then just crash. And
you would actually crash.
Yeah, I would. Yep, just fall asleep. But
maybe you hit a point where like you pass too many coffees and then that's when you actually, it like reverse effects. You end up doing the opposite of what it should be doing.
Maybe, but coffee also, just like anything that gives you an up, it has to, also level out and come down. So that's why a lot of people find that their energy levels are much better without coffee. Those real health freak people. I've not yet mastered that. No, I don't trust them either. I've seen it in Grant before where he'll have a really strong coffee and then about 2 hours later he'll be really tired. And I think that's your adrenals. So
what's your go-to coffee?
Anything. I'm not a coffee snob. I really like just like a Nescafe instant coffee in the morning. But I
love an instant coffee.
But I'm trying to push that back for as far as I can because better for you apparently to not have a coffee as soon as you wake up. It's better to wait for 90 to 120 minutes, which
Oh, wow.
I'm not there yet. I'm half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll have another coffee around 11 a.m., like a store-bought one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what's your go-to?
Oh, look, I'm the same. I do love instant coffee, and I then tend to go to a cafe sort of around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But when you have instant coffee, does it take you back to a certain time in your life? Because for me, during year 12, we were guzzling instant coffee, and it was just, we were in the common room, we were studying, we were having coffee. Like it was a fond, it's a core memory for me going back to that time. So every time I have instant coffee, I go, oh gosh, life was so simple and fun back then.
I remember I used to hate coffee. Like I used to, because I have straight black coffee, like real strong. And
Oh, wow.
I don't like milk. If my store-bought one is a soy mocha, which is not really a proper coffee. It's like a half-assed hot chocolate, with a little
Sure.
kicker.
Yeah.
But I do remember making like a liter's worth of coffee, black coffee, instant coffee to drink at university to keep me awake all night so that I could finish an assignment and study before a big test. And I remember drinking it in the computer room and like turning my nose up because it would have tasted like poo. But I just needed it to help me stay awake.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a fond memory.
Fair enough.
No.
I mean, coffee is like you feel the effect before you start to appreciate the taste of it, I feel. So like I realized this thing is going to keep me buzzed and energized, and it tastes horrible, but hey, we're going to push through. And now I'm like, I don't mind the taste.
It was like me with wine. When I first drank wine, I was like, oh, it tastes like cat's wee, and it's relaxing, so I'll drink it. It's just
You know what
the
doesn't
adult
taste
palate.
like cat's wee? You know what doesn't taste like cat's wee? The reviews and messages we get for this podcast.
Yeah, we get some nice ones. I get a lot in person, which is really, really nice. But I always think, I really should record them. If somebody comes up to me and says that they love the podcast, I should just whip out I'm never thinking
Your
like that.
microphone.
Yeah.
Do you reckon,
Hi.
Hi, give us a live review down the street, please. We've got a couple to kick it off. And, as Chez said, send in like voice memos if you want. We were doing that for a little while. We loved hearing the voices behind the words. This one's from Natasha. I've just listened to the most recent podcast, and I've come to the conclusion that Grant is an alien. How does he know all this stuff, Chezzi? You're awesome. I love your down-to-earthness. So a lot to unpack there. First of all, we know that you are down to earth. You're great, but Grant is an alien. Do we confirm or deny?
I don't know. I sit here sometimes and I think, how the hell do you know that? How do you know so much stuff? He's actually very intelligent, but as he says, he knows the most random crap that will probably never be that helpful. And yet when I say to him, do you know how to turn the dishwasher on? And he'll be like, and I
Has
think,
he always been that knowledgeable, or is it in the past few years he's brought this side of himself out?
I think he's always been that knowledgeable. So he just has a real curiosity about certain things, and he loves learning. And I often wonder, where the hell did you get that from? And he says, I watched an SBS show on it. And I think, well, when? Because all the shows that we've been watching, aren't making me smarter. So how come you're getting smarter? He loves history, and he loves aliens, obviously, and big topics.
Yeah, that Alien episode too. You were telling me just before we started. It went like really good over in America. Is that right?
Yeah, somebody said that it's gone viral in one part of America and being shared around. So that's crazy.
Yeah,
And
insane.
some of the comments on YouTube um, are obviously from people from America. They're like, "Who are these two hicks? I can't understand what they're talking about. Can they have subtitles?" Which I thought was quite funny. But the
That's
majority of the
classic.
comments, yeah, the majority of the comments are actually very, um, yeah. There's a big following for aliens, so they're very
Yeah.
complimentary, which is good. Yep,
We have
Grant's the
another
new.
comment here. Oh yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
is 100% an alien. No.
Yep. No, he's going to be the new
Okay.
host of Aliens Alive.
Oh, Aliens Alive. That's the next TV show for him. Another one. Oh,
Yeah.
Chezzi, I have just listened to your Amazing Race podcast. My heart is breaking for you. I too have been in a similar situation with my 11-year-old when she had a seizure. I literally thought she was dying in front of me. Such a hard thing to process, and I still to this day don't think I truly have. It does get better with time, but it is something that you will never, ever get over. Thank you for being so vulnerable and telling it how it was. Love you guys. And to me, you are the true winners. Kiss, kiss from Ali.
Oh, that's nice. Not Ali Simpson. That's she doesn't
No.
have any kids. That's really nice. It's still yeah. People are still talking about it. They're still catching up on it. So I had somebody today ask me about it in a shop when I was shopping, and yeah, it's
And
left a
that's
very
triggering
big.
too, right? When people just pounce on you with a event that happened in your life that was severely traumatic, it's hard to relive those feelings because you've kind of put them in a space in your mind, right?
I think the fact that I keep seeing the footage online in various
Yeah.
incarnations means I don't ever get fully triggered like I've buried it. So
Hmm.
um it feels like it was a really long time ago, but when I think about all the supplements and medicines that Grant is on still, um yeah, he's on like 47 tablets a day at the moment. Have I told you that?
47? No, you
Mm.
haven't.
Took me about an hour to pack his medicines before he left. So he's on like this, I don't know, random special medication that removes mold from your system.
Yeah.
Then he's got like other supplements that help your liver metabolize that mold, I guess. He's got like three different types of antihistamines to try and get his immune response under control. Um, he's got some other supplements. I don't even know what they do, but I just know that they're hard to get from overseas. He's got like it's called Deo, which is what your body produces to try and break down histamines. So he's on
Gee
something to
whiz, you
help
would have
him
had
with
to get
that.
extra carry-on baggage.
No, I pack it into like a little pop pack, like an old person. You know,
Oh, like a
the
Webster pack.
like well, kind of, yeah, one that you pack at home. So, but I've had to pack
Wow.
two. Yeah, and they're all different types of, the day. So some are before lunch, and yeah, and he's on they found that he's got like a good bacteria in your guts. Everybody talks
Yes.
about how you need more probiotics, etc. Well, he had an overgrowth of good bacteria in his small intestine that
Oh, he had
also showed
like
up.
too much good
Yeah,
bacteria.
it's called SIBO, I think, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So, yeah, so it's, I mean,
Is
what?
that something is that something that was probably there before the Amazing Race or something that developed during the Amazing Race?
To be honest, I have no idea. I don't know
Not
where it
sure.
came from, but I do know that I don't know if you saw the little skit that we did when we were packing our bags, and I had that
I did.
massive bag of medication. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
majority of that was all boxes for the anti-malaria antibiotic,
Yep.
which for some reason they had like 6 in a box, and we had to take so many because you had to have 1 or 2 every day for the whole time you're away, and 7 days before and 7 days after you get back. So there's lots and lots of boxes, but they were such strong antibiotics. I think that they rip through your intestines, and it made like the anti-malaria meds made a lot of people quite sick. So I don't know if maybe that could have something to do with it, but anyway,
True. Yeah.
yeah. So
Do you have any more reviews there, or?
I
that
do
it?
actually. No, I was just
Oh,
I was just thinking about, sending Grant off with all of these medications down to Melbourne. They'll be like, "Oh, right, yeah, welcome to your job. Do you
yeah.
really need to take all those supplements?" Yeah, my wife packs them for me. They'll be like, "Geez, I'm not close."
He hasn't actually made it to the recording studios yet. He's still getting
He's still
tested at the
unpacking.
airports. Yeah, unpacking it all.
They're all vitamins, and vitamin D as well. He's on like vitamin B, something or other, vitamin D. So
Getting all the bits into him.
so this is a review that's come through from Grace Emily. I've only just watched you and Grace on your last Amazing Race episodes. You guys are such an inspiration and a joy to watch in everything you do. Congratulations, you are the true winners. That's nice.
You and
very
Grace.
similar to-
You just said she watched you and Grace. Did you mean you and Grant?
You and Grant, yeah. Did I say you and Grace? Let's go. Well,
You and
I
Grace.
need another coffee. And I've got another one here from Kay. I wonder if you could do an episode about how you became a producer and the ins and the outs of the role. I'm very creative, can come up with ideas on the spot, but I like to be behind the camera, not in front. Same here. I'm a photographer,
okay.
so that's good. Then it dawned on me, maybe I'd be a natural producer. I'd really love to hear your insights. Love the pod.
If I don't watch myself, you'll be the next producer of this podcast.
Oh, that would never happen, George.
Is that a K? Is that K? Is her name K, like the letter K, or K-A-Y, or K-A-E? How do we spell it?
Just K. I don't know, just K.
Kay, you are welcome to be a producer of this podcast anytime you want. You won't get paid. All you got to do is send us DMs with ideas.
Yes, exactly. So big week in our house last week. Now do you know what? I don't like drama. I like the simple life, and I know I keep saying this, but for some reason, drama keeps trying to find me, and so it was my
You're
birthday.
susceptible to drama. Yeah. Happy birthday, by the way, belated.
Thank you. But what is that about? Because I don't know. Is it because we roll with the punches and I can cope with it? I don't know. This year.
Well, have you heard of the saying, bad things happen to good people?
Yes.
I reckon there's a bit of truth to that. I reckon that's probably what's going on. I don't know if it's like a real thing that you can prove, but it feels that way.
But maybe I'm not a good person. Maybe no.
Whoa,
I
wouldn't say
have a
that.
big heart, but look, I don't know what's going on, and I'm really hoping that it's all going to finish, because everybody kept saying, "Oh, that's the third thing," and I can't even think back now. It was like either my eyes or Sunday's broken
You're up to
sacrum.
number 23 now.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it feels like. So this year has been particularly testing. So on my birthday, I sat down on the couch, which I never do, but the kids have been saying, can you sit down with us and read a book? And now I sound like a terrible parent, but I was like, yeah, no worries. Let's sit down and I'll read a book. Because
You're a stand-up parent. You're a stand-up parent.
Yeah. They're like, you're always cleaning and you're always tidying up and always getting cranky. So I thought, yeah, you know what? Treasure the
I'll do
moment.
that, but sit down.
Yeah. You guys can clean while I sit down. So I sat down and I was reading a book with Sunday, and Scout was sitting next to me for a little bit, and she got up and ran into the kitchen. At the same time, we've got little Minnie, the Chihuahua cross fox terrier, who's very small, very bouncy, and she loves to chase the kids. And they've kind of run together into the kitchen, and they've collided. Now this happens quite a bit, but Scout has said to me, "Mum, I've accidentally run into Minnie, and I think she's hurt." Now I have got up off the couch, and Sunday just has a nappy on. She's got up and followed me over, and when I looked, I thought, oh my god, Minnie was laying on the ground with her back legs splayed, like
Oh no.
not naturally, like her back legs kind of spread out. Her
Was she
front
facing
legs
up or facing
were
down?
well, she was on one side, twisted
Oh,
in a
no.
way that did not look good, and her neck was bent back, and she was having a seizure. Now I'm going to try and tell this story without crying, okay? Which is probably going to be difficult because it was one of the most horrific sights I think I've ever seen. Seeing something so little and small, I thought she'd broken her neck, and I said to Scout, what happened? What happened? And I was, bending down to her, and she was making these awful noises, and Scout was like, we just ran into each other. And I said, and Scout weighs 16 kilos. Like, she's 8, but she's tiny. She's really, really small.
Quite light.
Very light. So none of it made kind of sense. And she said, she just hit my leg. I don't know. And Scout was crying at this stage. So we lived 20 minutes from town. I grabbed a towel and I placed her into the towel. And she was still making movements that make me feel very unwell. And I just tried to talk to her, and I said, right, we need to get into the car and we need to go to the vets right now. And I keep saying it, the position that she was in, I thought she's broken her neck, or her back is broken, and I was like, she's not going to survive this.
Done some severe damage.
So we get into the car, and Scout, I made Scout sit in the front, and she held the towel with little Minnie, and I said, talk to her. And Sunday, in typical Sunday style, I'm not getting in. I want to sit in the front. You're not sitting in the front. If Scout's sitting in the front, I'm sitting in the front. Get into the back of the car. So
Sunday really wants to get in the front of the car. Far out.
God, she wants to drive. I'm like, get into the car, and I'm trying to keep myself calm. And we drove into town. I called the vets on the way. She was still like having what I now know was a seizure, a very prolonged seizure. Her little eyes were rolling back in her head, and her mouth was looking very strange. And Scout cried almost the whole way in, saying, Mum, I think she's dying. I'll never forgive myself. She's my best ever pet. And it was really when I say things are traumatic, this was very traumatic, and trying to be really calm for the kids. And there was 2 trucks and a bus that I had to sit behind, and I could just feel my chest was just getting really hot, and I thought, I'm just going to explode here at, one of these. I'm like, why are you driving under the speed limit? And Scout saying, quick, Mum, you've got to get there faster. You've got to get there faster. And I was trying really hard. It was a really long trip in, and I did think to myself along the way, if this was a snake bite on one of the kids, we would be in real serious trouble. Although I do know first aid, for snake bites, it's just, if you sit behind a tractor, because we live rural, sit behind a
Yep.
tractor and you just have to follow their speed until it's okay to drive, or overtake. It's
Yeah.
torturous.
Oh, and the roads are narrow, so it's really hard to even think about overtaking.
It's just a really, long way. Most of the time, it doesn't feel that, far out of town, but on this particular day, it did. And just as we pulled into the street for the vets, she sort of started to like turn her head around and put her legs out, and her eyes kind of like opened up. And I thought, there's a change. This is great. Still trying to watch the road.
Yeah.
Pulled into the vets, took her into the vets. Now, when they took her, they said, this doesn't look good. So my heart sank because I just kept thinking, oh my God, Scout's 8. This is not, it was just
Yeah, poor
a
thing. It was very
freak
harmless.
accident. Yeah. So we waited there for a little while and they ran tests on her. They said that she was only semi-conscious. They asked what had happened. They did some x-rays of her neck and x-rays of her back. And I just said, do every test that you need to do. They took some bloods. None of it made sense. I was starting to think, God, maybe she'd gone, because I'd put them outside, not that much earlier. I thought maybe she's gone up and she's been bitten by a snake. None of that showed up. I thought maybe
No.
she's eaten, I don't know, maybe she's eaten something that she shouldn't have. And, we've got heaps of mice around. I know that people use mouse
True.
baits. Like I was thinking, just every scenario going through your head.
Heat stroke?
And
Did heat stroke ever come up?
no, because I've had the air conditioning on inside. So it
Yeah,
wouldn't have
fair.
been, yeah. But I just thought about every single scenario. And it was probably very triggering seeing the seizure, that was triggering for me for what
Yeah.
happened in India. And also not that much earlier when I went out for a girls' weekend and my friend had a seizure. It's like 3, seizures that I've seen this year. So,
Wow.
um,
Yeah, that's a lot.
but she made a miraculous recovery. She stayed overnight. She had
Good.
a drip in. Scout slept in the bed with me that night and we cried all night, like on and off all night.
Oh,
We were so worried. I kept thinking they were going to call and say that I had to make a decision to put her down.
yeah.
And I thought, how do I do that? That's a really hard decision.
Gosh.
But yeah, she's good. She came home.
Oh, that's good.
The following night, which is only a few days ago, she's got shaved neck, shaved arms. She had a, bandage on her arm.
Yeah, she's looking absolutely fantastic. Just loving
Just
life in that shaved
yes.
fit.
And I said to them, like, how does this happen? And I was actually hoping that my friend who's a vet might come on and tell us how this happens, because I text my friend and I'm like, oh my God, can this happen? And she said, yeah, a really bad concussion can cause,
Yeah.
a seizure. It's mind blowing.
It is. It's insane. But
It's
it's
like-
crazy too. Like when a pet, it's not just a pet, right? It's a family member. They're part of the family. They're like a child to you. They're like a best friend to Scout. And for any time for when a pet passes away, it is such or gets close to that, it is such a difficult thing to go through. It's like your sibling is it's rough. I
It's
had
awful.
a pet rabbit called Midnight. And it was this massive rabbit. It was, dark, black. And one frosty winter's morning in Bathurst, it must have just been a bit too cold, and Midnight couldn't quite handle it. And I was, Midnight was my bestie, was my best friend, and I had like a week off school because he passed away. And yeah, it's very, very, very challenging, and I'm just so glad that that everything's worked out in this case.
Yeah, same. Whenever we've gone to get a pet, I'm a big pet person, right? I grew up with lots of pets, and I know that we've spoken about this. Grant, I think he had a dog. I
Mm-hmm.
think he had a little dog called Taco, like a little chihuahua when he was very, very young.
Cute name.
But they didn't really have very many pets. So he has always said, do we really need another pet? Because it's too traumatic when they die. Right. And so
We'll be fine.
Yeah. I was like, no, we've got it. Pets are, they enrich your lives. And I love having animals around for the girls. We're on a farm. This is, a part of growing up. But I was
Life on the
thinking,
land.
life on the land. That's right. I was thinking the other night, oh my God, this, just if she would have passed away, it would have been so much more traumatic because I think that Scout would have blamed herself.
Yeah.
And that was really hard to watch as a parent. That was very upsetting for me. And even the next day, I could tell she felt really upset and very guilty. And yeah, I'm really glad she's okay.
Just shows she's got a very beautiful heart,
She does. She really loves her. But so I can look at the funny side now, but on the particular night, so it's my birthday, right, that this has happened, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, we lost Squiggles on Mother's Day. We cannot lose Minnie on my birthday. Like, what even is happening this year? Why is there so much drama? And I've pulled into the vets and I've left the car running with Sunday in the back. She's got my phone, so she's ringing everybody in my contacts list. So apologies if you got prank calls from Sunday. I've got my other dog.
That would explain the weird 11 p.m. call from you. That's okay.
I've got my other dog, Popcorn, who's sitting next to her in the car. So I've left the car running at the front of the vets. Now, I'm in the waiting room, very distressed. Scout I'm holding her like a baby, on my hip. She's got a head buried in my shoulder. She's crying hysterically while we're waiting for them to run tests. The vet clinic is packed and I'm not worried that my car, like we live in Bathurst, my car's running, but I can see it through the glass windows.
Yeah.
This woman comes in and opens up the door and she's, excuse me, just wanted to let you know that you've left your car running. Now, Scouts, my eyes are puffballs, and I've turned around and I said, oh, thank you. Yes, I've got my baby and my dog in the car. And she's gone, oh. And did some kind of eye roll, like a bit judgy, and walked off, right?
Shady.
Now, I was like, whatever, I can't deal with, with attitude. And now I've got personalized number plates. So I also can't do anything because everybody knows my car. And must have been probably 4 minutes later, opens up the door again. Excuse me, just reminding you that your car is still running, right, in this tone. And I've gone,
who is this? Who is this person? How old is she? Is she old or young?
60.
Okay.
60, yep.
Does she look like a Karen?
Well, I don't know. She just looked like a normal woman, but just I was thinking, okay, lady, yep, no worries. My car is running. I've got a baby in there. I'm waiting here for them. They're running tests. They've asked me not to go anywhere. Anyway, 3 times. She comes up to the door, right? This is within 15 minutes, okay? Now, I would have left Sunday in the car. I was walking back and checking on her. She was just happily calling China at this stage, and calling any number. She was fine. She was watching a DVD. The air conditioning was blowing in. The dog was sitting next to her. They were relaxed. It's not like I was, it's in a fenced-off area. So that's right, okay? Anyway, she comes in again. Your car is still running. Yes. Now the tone has changed. Now, I don't know why this is so distressing for this woman that my car is still running.
Like, what is she even doing?
I think she's sitting out the front waiting for a vet.
Oh, man.
So I could feel and I don't get angry very often, but I could feel this rage coming up through my neck. And I was thinking, oh my God, please do not ask me again. I'm going to have to get Sunday out of the car. I'm going to have to get the dog out of the car, and I'm going to have to bring them into this very busy waiting room, which I did not want to do. Sunday had no clothes on and a nappy.
Yeah.
And it's, in the middle of a waiting room. But I thought,
Mhm.
otherwise, the alternative is I'm going to blow up at this woman. Anyway,
Yeah.
luckily, I'd sent my mum a very cryptic message saying, please meet me at the vet's. I need help. And she turned up, and my mum's walked to the door, and I was overjoyed to see my mum.
I
My
bet.
mum,
Yeah.
my mum walks in and she says, Cheryl, there's a woman out here who said that your car is running and your lights are on. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't say that, but I was like, what is her go? Like, and I was just.
Wait, so she went to your mum. Did she know your mum?
She must have. I don't know. She probably
Oh.
listens to this podcast. She might
Yeah.
not have. She might not have realized how grating it was at that particular minute. But I was like, this is not helpful. I don't
No.
understand why. I think she was concerned about maybe the environment, that my car was still running, pumping fumes out or something. I'm not sure, but it was
Far out.
really taking every piece of strength that I had not to, like, I was
Mm.
full of so much rage.
Yeah,
I
I
could have
bet.
headbutted. Like,
Her?
yeah, or the wall.
Wow.
I'm not a violent person, but it
No.
brought out, this different side to me. So,
So your mum
yeah.
came and saved the day. What happened then? Was everything
Uh,
fine? That it proceeded as usual?
Yeah, so we just waited for a little while, and I brought Sunday and the dog in just to, give this woman just, peace of mind. And then they said to go home. They let us come in, and we got to see her, and she'd just started to sit up, and this was probably an hour and a bit after we'd been there for a little while, and yeah, and she didn't look right still. Her eyes still didn't look quite right. But she tried to
Yeah.
wag a tail, and it was just so sad. Seeing something so small and so defenseless in, what looked
Yeah.
like an awful amount of pain was awful.
Yeah.
So
Back on the lady, did she like, I think what you go
of
in
knowing,
once and you say, hey, you know
right?
what, your car's running, the baby's in there, like, just letting you know, and you go, oh, okay, thank you. Like, you've acknowledged that this is happening. She can see that you've acknowledged that. The fact that you come in for a second, a third, a fourth, what are you achieving? Obviously, you're not going to be going out to turn it off because you've got a system in place that is working for you.
Like, but clearly I don't care. So I don't know why keep telling
Yeah.
me. That's what I don't understand.
If
I
you're a
just
listener of this podcast, we would like to interview you. Please reach out. We'll have a chat to you, Karen.
I might have to apologize because, I did give some pretty dirty death stares she was still
And
there
nearly
when I was
headbutted
driving
her.
up. I just I don't know. If you're at a vet's and you're there with a hysterical daughter crying, you have been crying, you look a wreck, just I don't understand how that's helpful.
Yeah, I can probably see this conversation turning into one of those clickbaity articles, which is what's on the run list for today's podcast. And
Yeah,
probably
right?
part of the reason why you had a bit of a hiatus recently. Would you like to talk to us through that?
Yeah. So
You were uncontactable. I couldn't speak to you.
well, a lot of the stuff that I put up on social media, I love doing like updates. I feel like I've got a big community, a big family, and I I had a lot of messages from people saying that they were, upset because they haven't seen any pictures of the kids or haven't had any family updates, and it's all kind of been business and, podcast or advertorials or, not the family updates. And and that is true. And the reason why I haven't been able to put stuff on social media is because I don't know if you've noticed, but clickbait headlines, especially about the most ridiculous crap, things get taken out of context. So a
Yeah.
lot of people who are a bit older and don't listen to the podcast were really surprised to hear news about Sunday's broken sacrum, which I decided to put up yesterday, knowing full well that once that gets written on my social media, that then that's going to be some ridiculous headline. And
Mhm.
I've had enough headlines, which is why I like talking about
Yeah.
things on the podcast, because you get to put it into your own context. And also because they're lazy, they're not going to listen through a podcast.
No.
Which they're stupid because there's so much juice in here, but they just
There's a
lift it
lot.
from your socials. Like, say for
Yeah.
instance, when Squiggles passed away, and I was quite sad, and I think the reason why I felt the need to put it up, a few days after, was for a few reasons. One, because I get requests almost every hour from people asking if I can help them in some way. Can I do a GoFundMe account? Can I help support them doing, um, you know, somebody lost their handbag, can I replace it? Can I go and visit this little child in hospital? And like, just
Oh, wow.
constant,
Yeah.
constant requests, like
Of course.
heaps. And I always try to answer those and to deliver on those. But when something happens in my life that I have to deal with, and there's been a lot of those this year, I am not I don't put things up on social media straight away. It, it takes me a few days to live them, before I decide, yeah, I'm right to put it out there. It's the
Yeah.
same with I
Process
won't
it.
yeah, I won't put up about Minnie on my social media because I don't want the drama, but I'll talk about it here because I think that it's very cathartic and also it's helpful. Um,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's the other reason why, with Squiggles passing away, um, I feel that I have somewhat of a duty of, I don't know, just in my role that somebody, everybody's lost a pet at some
Yep.
point in their lives and people can relate to that. And
Mm.
I feel that that's my duty to be real. And I
Yeah.
think that in talking about things, it creates a conversation, and that's all I wanted to do. But the clickbait
Yeah.
headlines that came out of that social post saying, that we were sad and that little Squiggles passed away and we don't know what happened and it was awful, and I sent out my love to anybody who's lost a pet. The clickbait headlines
Mm.
were Denya family tragedy. Tragedy strikes the Denya family on Mother's Day. And Grant and Chezzi's tragic loss or something. And there's
Yeah,
so many
okay.
people that I've spoken to who got conned into reading those articles because of those headlines. And then
It creates so much fear.
it creates so much fear and so much drama. That's the thing.
Mhm.
And then you read it and you go, their bird died. Like, let's put this into perspective, okay? Their
Yep.
frigging bird died. Like, and not always, but often people feel conned. They feel gypped. They've read a story, they've invested their time, and everybody's time poor. And more often than not, they will have this impression that Grant and I are out there trying to, flap our wings. This is if they don't know us or if they don't listen to the podcast. We're
Yep.
trying to get more attention on ourselves by putting out these stories. So it's almost like they get the shits with us. And they call
Yeah,
us
well, in a
overly
way,
dramatic.
yeah, people start thinking, "Oh my gosh, there's so much drama happening here." But yeah, and look, it's so hard because I think journalists and today it's all about the clicks, it's all about the views and downloads and whatever. And I think to a point, yeah, you got to have something that's catchy and grabby that's going to pull people in. But you can probably overstep the mark and step over the line in a lot of cases. I think something that could have been a bit more appropriate if you were to re-headline what you did would just be, the Danya's important message about pets. It's a bit more calming as opposed to the drama of shock, horror, all this kind of stuff.
And that's what gives me the irrits. Is that, and I know that for some reason, headlines about Grant, headlines about me, get clicks, and that's the reason why there's so many. And I got that firsthand from a journalist that works for the 7 News website, and that I don't know, I don't know. So
Yeah.
I don't like clickbait headlines, and I don't like the way that journalism is going. I can't change it, and I almost feel once I put something out on social media, it always gets twisted. So I've been just taking a bit of a break and just living, trying to keep all my
Good.
pets alive.
That's right. How are you feeling during this break? Like, do you feel like you're missing out on anything?
No.
Oh, that's good.
No.
You're back to writing letters to people?
No. No. I don't think I'll ever have
Nothing.
enough
Just
time
no
to catch
communication
up.
with anyone.
But it's been nice because we went away for a wedding. Grant's sister got married, and it was actually really nice to be in the moment.
Yep.
But it's also I feel a tinge of sadness because I like the connection that social media gives, and I don't know how to control the narrative more than what we've been doing.
Yeah. I think the moral of the story is if you want to know the real Denyas, go to their social media pages, their correct ones, or listen to the podcast because it's coming out of our very own mouths, not some journalist who's trying to get the clicks.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see.
I saw
We'll
a
see if that is
crazy
them.
headline, clickbait one, Chezzi. It was basically, the headline was, "What could possibly even happen? My goodness." And it's a picture of these ducklings. There's about 100 ducklings surrounding a pool. And it says, "Baby ducks see water for the first time, ... Can you believe what they do?"
Oh,
That's
see,
what the headline is.
So what do they do?
Well, what do you think they do? What does that make? Where does your mind go there?
Would they jump in the pond and they swim?
Well, pretty much. The article basically says the ducks politely sip water from the pool.
What?
So that's the headline. This crazy, massive, big, outrageous thing. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next as they look at the water? They simply drink it. Like, is that what journalism has come to? Holy
Yes.
shit.
But hey, that's a really positive story. What about all the
It
negative
is good.
ones?
I don't mind that story, actually. That's pretty sweet.
There's so much negativity around, and everything's sensationalized they try to out sensationalize each. There's some news, I mean, I don't read the newspaper. There's some newspapers or news organizations that I don't even go anywhere near if I want to get some news because it's all clickbait. And it's annoying. It's really annoying. But anyway,
how are you finding the terrible news coming out of Gaza at the moment?
See, that's real news, right? Like that is really tragic. And the videos and the footage, I try not to watch too much of it. Although I also have this thing where I don't want to be ignorant because it is happening, and I think that it is the most important story right now. It's the only story.
I saw something on a friend's story the other day. It was like, gee, you guys are uncomfortable with me posting uncomfortable visions from Gaza, but I'm more uncomfortable with the fact that you're not paying attention, kind of thing. that was really grabbing, and it's kind of true. If it is uncomfortable, it probably means, hey, this is something that you need to pay more attention to because it's absolutely horrific.
It's the yeah. So what's the right? I mean, I have been talking to my kids about it. They are too young to really understand, but it's also you don't want to scare them too much, but you also want to, I don't want them to be too naive. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just trying to pull
oblivious,
up
wanting
now
to be educated to it.
it's the footage that I saw of the tiny little babies. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Oh, I have
um,
seen that. That's
oh my
so
god.
hard to watch. So sad.
Um, like they're calling for an immediate ceasefire, and I've got friends who have been protesting on Parliament House to try and get Albo to, to listen. It's just like I get all choked up, but the picture showing the premature babies in Gaza's largest hospital, um, they've they're trying to keep them warm
Hmm.
and alive after their oxygen supplies and the power has run out for the incubators. I mean, it's like
Gosh.
39 of these tiny, tiny little babies, and you just see them, they're so defenseless. Um, like, this hospital, Gaza's biggest hospital, is operating, and people are still being taken there for emergencies. They've got no power, they've got no clean water, they've got no food. I've got goosebumps no matter what. Like, they're trying to evacuate people, but they've got nowhere to take them. It's just ugh. Like, how is this?
Yeah.
How is this modern age? How
Yeah.
how are
It's
we
so
okay with this?
hard as well to be in a country like Australia and see it all play out so clearly, so evidently, so in your face, and just know that you and I, Shez, what the heck can we do? What the
Yeah,
heck can we do?
yeah, yeah. I've reached out to I'll just look up the name of it. It's Mahoba's Promise, and I'm trying to get them to come on the podcast. They were on the ground when the US pulled out of Afghanistan, and they helped a lot of the Afghanistan young females. They helped a lot of the orphaned young females before the
Oh
Taliban took over,
wow. Yeah.
and they're now helping another organization to be on the ground as close as they
Yeah.
can to Gaza. And it's, I didn't want anybody political,
Hmm.
because I think that it's gone beyond that now. I think that it's an absolute crisis, and I think that it needs the entire world to turn around and say this is not okay. It
Yeah.
needs to stop, and it's just mm, we're so
Yeah.
lucky, and we just don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it, as you've mentioned a few times, like it's incredibly sobering,
Mm,
and I guess humbling, and I don't know, like it just makes you puts your life into perspective, when you see such horrendous things playing out. It's terrible, and no doubt we'll throw some links into the bio of this episode for a couple of the people you've mentioned there, and ways, small, very very small ways that we can
they are.
support.
They're.
Um, yeah,
It's it's such a tragic situation, and I think that people, like, we're all so consumed with our own lives. Life is hard, and it's also it's it's difficult to grasp sometimes how much tragedy these people are facing. Um,
mm,
but I do think that more so now than, say, 10 years ago, seeing a lot of the footage, and I'm told that on TikTok and various other unregulated news sites, there's a lot of footage that is extremely confronting, and
Yeah.
maybe that is what is needed, more of that, so that people can't turn a blind eye. I don't know, but the baby story just that broke me.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very tough time. It's incredibly sad. And if
And
it
yet-
does affect anybody who's listening right now, these are heavy topics. The lifeline number is 13 11 14, and there's so many people out there willing to chat and help you process what's going on. It's and it's hard for us. I find it particularly hard because I'm just so removed. We're both just so removed from this, and being the helpful, kind-hearted people that I think we are. You just want to do anything you can. So yeah, it's rough, very rough.
Now we can't finish on a really
No, we are.
down.
We're going to finish it right there. Thanks for in being a part of this episode. We'll sit. No, okay, we'll keep going.
Oh, I just feel,
I mean, maybe it'll make people think.
Yeah, I know. Well,
No, let's go. Let's find something. We need to do something. You got a joke? I got a joke.
I have a.
Oh no, that's not
God,
appropriate though. It's not appropriate. No, I'd feel comfortable telling it with Grant in the room. I'll think of another one. Hang on.
Oh. I'm just watching out my window. There's this like owl that's just flying above the ground out there, just obviously looking at a mouse.
What do owls mean? They have a meaning, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been looking up my bird meanings lately. Do you know when we were up in Kingscliff or Tweed, like for the wedding recently, there was the biggest, most beautiful black cockatoos all outside where we were staying, and they're so majestic. God, they're beautiful.
They are. I love a kookaburra as well. They're a very pretty bird to look at. Very aggressive though.
They steal your sausages when you're cooking a barbecue.
I got a joke to wrap up this episode.
Right,
I don't think this will be a regular thing. Look, it's from Google, so it's just to lighten the mood. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to buy some camo pants, Chezzi, but I couldn't find any.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeez, that's dry. Do you get it?
No.
Do you understand it? I wanted to buy some camo pants, but I couldn't find them.
What? So what? Camo?
Some camouflage pants.
Yeah. But you couldn't find... Oh.
Yeah, but I couldn't find them. Yeah.
Yeah, I did get that now.
The jokes that take about 45 seconds to land are often the best ones.
Yeah, because I was thinking, what, do you have no pants on now? Is this the joke? Yeah, clearly I
never do
need
a
another
podcast
coffee.
in pants, coffee, yeah.
Oh, classic. Well,
We said this, we'd start high and then we'd finish sort of with the wheels falling off. So we're true to our word here at the It's All True podcast.
Oh, we are. But it's so hard because I don't want to take away from what is happening. And this is another reason why I didn't post on social media, is because anything that you talk about or do, it feels trivial compared to what's happening, out there.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast because they have sad lives or they have things happening in their lives that they're trying to deal with. So we have to try and, keep them upbeat. And that joke is not going to cut it.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
it really isn't going to cut it.
it-
But hey, we're all a big bunch of besties, and you know what?
Yeah.
We love all of you except for that one listener who kept on annoying Chezzi at the vet. F you.
Yeah, I'm sure that she's not a listener. But anyway, she will be from here on in.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And when's Grant getting back? Is he coming back anytime soon, or is he still busy filming?
He's got a really hectic filming schedule up until Christmas Eve. So he's back for one day this week and then he's off again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, stay tuned. GD may or may not be in that episode. We will see.
Oh, I think we need to record the podcast with him on set. That'd be cool.
Oh, great idea. How about we go? Can
Yeah.
we go to him on set? Let's maybe do
Yes.
that. A podcast from the set of Deal or No Deal.
Yes, that would be awesome. I love that. Let's put it into the mix.
Yeah.
Done.
Let's add it to the list of things that we said we'll do that probably won't happen.
Yeah, we are working on them.
Be true.
Be true. Bye.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Denya.
Bye bye. See you next time.